What's the famous saying? Words talk, numbers scream. So if you can throw numbers in, it just makes you a powerhouse, and it's hard for people to throw objections at you when you're giving them actual data rather than your opinion.
Kent, what's up, man?
Not much. Excited to be here.
As always.
As always.
So somebody said something to me the other day about how they spend a ton of time when they're prospecting. They go to the MLS, they look at the listing, they gather a bunch of information, they want to see market stat for that specific part of town, and then they go and make their call. And they're like, it takes so long to prospect. What advice would you give to somebody in a situation like that?
First off, if you have REDX's market insights, you don't have to do that.
Okay.
Second thing I would say is probably don't do that. Unless you get an appointment and then you prepare for the appointment. That's when you look up the stats and have all of the data. But having the stats at your fingertips does make you really powerful, right? What's the famous saying? Words talk, numbers scream. So if you can throw numbers in, it just makes you a powerhouse, and it's hard for people to throw objections at you when you're giving them actual data rather than your opinion.
Yeah, and I think that it's important to note that when you're prospecting with REDX, having the market insights right there, because what it is it's zip code specific data. Like if I asked you right now, I said, hey, what's the average days on market in Utah? You'd say
78.
Okay, 78.
Gone up.
Right?
Oof.
Now, it definitely has. But if I said, what's the days on market for Orem, Utah, 84058 specifically, right? Or Alpine or Spanish Fork, right? Like we all know the average market stats, but there's so much variation within our own market.
Yeah.
And I understand the idea that people go, well, I want to be prepared. I want to have the information. And that's why the market insights is so cool. It's because it's that information at your fingertips. So it's everything from days on market, median list prices, average list prices. Man, I think those are the ones I can think of off the top of my head, but there's a whole bunch of data points that it will give specific to the zip code, but it also does it for single family residences as opposed to condos, right? So that information is then separated as well. So to the people that are out there spending a bunch of time researching before they even make the prospecting call, I'd say number one, a bunch of the information that you want that would be relevant on the call is right within the platform.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, I think that we use that as an excuse to not make the call. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah. It's total. What's the word?
Avoidance.
Yeah. Call reluctance, call avoidance.
Yeah. I think that we do that because we go, well, if I'm doing the research or I'm getting ready to make the call, then I don't actually have to make the call.
Yeah. But you feel like you actually did something.
Yeah. You feel busy, but it's not productive.
Yep.
Right. And I think that it's important to note that really when it comes down to it, is it ideal to have detailed conversations about the market on the prospecting call anyway?
No.
Like when you're on the call, you're not trying to educate people on the market on your prospecting calls. You're shooting for one thing, and it is
appointment.
It's an appointment, right? Yeah. Like that's what you're going for. And if people want specific market stats, in fact, the way that you close for appointments is my favorite out there. Is if somebody were to say something like, well, what about the market stats specific for my zip code? How is that different than what's going on in the market? You usually respond, you go, well, that's exactly why we need to get together.
Yeah.
Or that's exactly why it makes sense for us to sit down.
Yeah. Just by you asking that question demonstrates that you're at least interested in getting your home sold. We need to get together.
Yeah. And I love that because you don't avoid the question, but you stay focused on the primary reason for your prospecting calls.
Yeah.
Which is to set appointments.
I think the thing that's helped me a lot is the calls for diagnosing. Like, I'm diagnosing your problem. Does it make sense for us to then have an appointment? Like if you were to call into a doctor's office and you talk to the nurse is then going to say, they're going to ask you a bunch of questions. Yeah. And based on the answers that you give is then going to determine you should come into the office and meet with a doctor.
Right.
And by no means am I saying we're doctors. A lot of real estate agents make more money than actual doctors themselves, but that's just professionalism.
Yes.
I can't help you if I don't know what you need help with. It's malpractice. If I start prescribing for something I have no idea.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I do agree that there's this element of we need to be market experts. I think it begins far sooner than being on the prospecting call. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Like you've got to know what's happening in the market. You've got to have your finger on the pulse and be tracking that. Doesn't mean you have to track it zip code by zip code. You don't track area by area, right?
It's really easy for us. I just do Salt Lake and Utah County.
Okay. So 2 counties.
2 counties, but I'm not getting zip code specific or city specific with either one of those. It literally is, I look at it once a week, look at those numbers. And if that number drastically changes next week, that's okay. okay.
Yeah.
You just have to look at it once a week, be like, hey, 78 days on market. Average list to sales price is $5,000 less. So it's $675, but average sales price is $670.
Yeah, it seems like such an easy thing to do that takes a couple of minutes every single morning, every single week.
Yeah.
You could do it on a Monday morning or a Sunday afternoon or whenever your week starts and have that stat jotted down somewhere that you use throughout the week.
Yeah.
But then in the event that you do have to get more specific, having market insights inside of Vortex is pretty awesome.
Super
right?
cool. Yeah.
I mean, it's super specific. And then again, single family residence versus condos, if there's enough condos in that area.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about, so if someone gives you the objection, the house wasn't selling because the market's bad. How do most agents reply, would you say?
I think they'd be argumentative. Go, well, actually, the market, ...
Market's really good. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And not give any factual data.
Yeah.
So if you could say, if you could look at the market insights and be like, would it surprise you to know, Tyler, that 17 homes have sold in the last 30 days in your zip code?
Yeah, that would surprise me.
I feel like yours should have been one of them. So based on that, I think it has a lot more to do with how the home was marketed and a lot less to do with how the market is.
Yeah.
Which is exactly why you and I need to get together.
Yeah. And I love that, right? Which brings up something else, right? I think that we often, in our attempt to be the market expert, we end up being argumentative.
Yeah.
Right? And instead of really staying focused on the most important reason for a prospecting call, which is not to educate somebody on the market, it's to get the appointment, right?
So I'm in a group with a bunch of prospectors. I've watched a bunch of agents prospect. You've watched me prospect. And I think the one takeaway that I could say a top prospector has versus a prospector that's not really that good is friction.
Okay. Help me understand what you mean.
So if I get on a call with you and I'm argumentative, is there friction?
Yes.
If I have the wrong tonality, is there friction between us?
Yes.
If I can sound a lot like you, if I can repeat and affirm what you're telling me, and I'm on your side, I'm on your team, does that release friction?
Yes.
And as soon as I release friction, then it builds a bridge of trust that allows us to cross over that together and explore our options to see if it makes sense to meet together.
Yeah.
But you don't want to meet with someone that's opposed to you. I mean, if you look at America right now, half of America watches one news station, the other half watches the other. And if there's a reel or a YouTube video that comes on from the other side, what do they automatically do? Change it. Yep. Change. I don't want to see it. Not interested.
Yeah.
But if it aligns with their views and how they view the world, what do?
Yeah, they consume it.
Consume more.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to take away from that. Number one, your script matters. But the other thing is we've got to leave our ego at the door. It doesn't matter if we're right or not. Because oftentimes, especially with somebody like expired listings, it's a highly emotional time for expired listings.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be able to convince them that their feelings aren't valid, right? If you're like, oh, well, actually, the market's really good. Well, their feelings based on their experience is saying otherwise.
Yeah.
And it doesn't do any good to try to be argumentative. In my house, the saying is you can be right or you can be happy, right? Which is not my saying. There's actually books about that. But you can be right or you can be happy.
I changed that for prospecting to you can be right or you can be rich.
Okay, all right.
So,
you can be right and try to educate and correct your prospects' thoughts and feelings and experience, or you can agree with them, you can affirm, you can validate the feeling that they have and the experience that they have, and then present the solution to really ultimately what they want to do, and that's get the home sold and move forward.
Yeah.
Market insights is cool. I think it allows you to do that. Having a great script allows you to do that and staying focused on the purpose for the prospecting call, which is to set the appointment. Okay. Well, Kent, as always, thanks, man. It's good to have you in here. You and I get to spend a lot of time together, but it's fun in this setting. We'll see you all next time.
Catch you next time.